That's a very specific illicit desire to want underage people.
Well,
how do you even find out that someone's into that?
Well, I don't think that the majority or anything close to it of the women were technically. I think it was largely very young, barely legal, so to speak. But
there's some 9-year-olds in there.
Yeah, there's even younger.
Who moved to US? Hold on.
I'll go to chat after this.
Hey, she was 14, guys. Can you get the right?
Oh no, this is just one example.
Dude, there's
just one.
So many.
Yeah.
Brian goes, dude, come on, she was 14. What is your take today? What the is going on? Woody Allen, and now you defend Epstein?
Woody Allen's a very different story. Woody Allen's totally different.
It's weird you're dating your stepdaughter.
It's still legal.
You can very easily see someone getting involved in that just because girls juice deals. And Jeffrey Epstein, for the past 3 years of their lives has been the best weekend they've ever had. Has made them feel alive again. It's because it's juiced by the girls, the parties, the lifestyle that Epstein allows you to have access to.
But in the public eye, the narrative is underage girls.
So if we found out that somebody we knew was
let's be careful,
16-year-olds.
Let's be careful. What? Oh, okay, I didn't know where you were going with this. I didn't.
No, I'm about to leave, dude. I can't be part of this.
When Brendan Schaub is offering the most sensible takes in the room, then you know something's wrong. Ever since the latest Epstein files dropped last week, the usual suspects are playing D for the worst people. And it's no secret that Joe Rogan is compromised. He's been running cover for the elites for a couple of years now. Once Rogan's wealth and influence got their attention, he decided that having calls with the president and dinners with billionaires was worth more to him than being honest with his own audience. Joe sold out for access. He just wanted a seat at the table. And for us, that means we have to listen to him sit in his studio and say things like underage people and, in the public eye, the narrative is underage girls. And he does it all with a straight face. But it's not just Rogan that's sold out. We all saw what happened last year when some of the biggest comedians in the world bent the knee to the Saudi government and became mouthpieces for the regime. And if that wasn't bad enough, then we had to listen to them come back to America, lecturing us about how morally bankrupt and racist we are for criticizing them for cozying up to a regime who maintains power by suppressing its own people and their free speech. Bill Burr still hasn't recovered from the backlash, and I honestly don't think he ever will. And when you stop and take a step back to take it all in, you realize how far we've come from the days when comedians and podcasters were an alternative to the mainstream media. They were the ones who we trusted to speak their minds and say what everyone was thinking without the network breathing down their necks and censoring them. Fast forward to 2026 and Brendan Schaub seems to be the only one making any sense.
Why are so many people in Hollywood and in powerful positions so into f***ing kids? What's the wrong with them? That's what I don't understand.
I have no idea. Is it
Do you know any, think about people you know. Do you know anyone who's like, dude, I don't know what it is. These kids.
No.
I like to
never. In your entire life, have you ever met someone who's into f***ing kids?
But I'd like to believe it's very rare still. I'd like to believe.
I don't think so at that elite level. There's too much. Look at all these young kids.
That's right, things have gotten so bad now that the guy with CTE and a face full of zins is the only one asking the right questions. I mean, Joe Rogan used to have a show literally called Joe Rogan Questions Everything, which only lasted 6 episodes. Now, more than 10 years later, we have the infamous line from the Kash Patel podcast, "What am I going to do, push back?" It's not just that though, he also uses the excuse, "I'm just asking questions." That way the internet can make up their own mind. But he's not even doing that anymore. Joe barely even scratches the surface. Seriously, check out this pathetic attempt from Rogan to discuss the Epstein files. This is the #1 podcaster in the world who gets paid hundreds of millions of dollars every single year to interview interesting and informed guests. And his hot take on Epstein is, yeah, it's kinda crazy.
It's just crazy that statutory rape is what took it all down, right? Because it's underage jobs, right? That's what took it all down.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be what took Jeffrey Epstein down.
Kind of crazy.
even that has a really interesting geopolitical history. There was a similar scandal in the early 2000s with a private military contractor called DynCorp. They got in trouble basically trafficking underage kids to Middle Eastern sheikhs. And I believe the reason that was alleged by Congress that they did that was to juice the deals with them. They need the support of the local high-level officials. They need to be happy. And there's several currencies for that. There's financial payoffs, and there's other things they might like parties and young women, especially in places where being with the very young female is not illegal. And so I would not be surprised if the Epstein trafficking apparatus started with similar motivations. Not that it's not necessarily for blackmail, but because it makes clients or customers or VIP people happy. If you're a 70-year-old billionaire, you can't walk into a bar and leave aside the underage thing. You can't walk into a bar, and meet an 18-year-old who's I presume these things are facilitated at private parties, and it needs to for a lot of these guys it has to be discreet. They've got wives, they've got reputations. I worked at a New York law firm, and there's ways that you can make partner. At least this was kind of the vibe that I felt like. Some people make partner because they're really good technically at what they do. There's some people who make partner because they know they brought in one client who's just a really big rainmaker. And there's some people who move up because they open doors to partners while they're associates. They introduce them to someone, and the partners just like being around that person because they get access to that person in a currency that they can't get on their own. And that includes hosting, cool, exotic parties, having, attractive women.
Every time this guy says juice and deals in the same sentence, I physically cringe. The mental gymnastics from Mike Benz to distract from what's really going on is crazy. We're in the middle of one of the biggest political cover-ups in history, with millions of documents detailing some of the most heinous crimes imaginable, and Rogan invites a former State Department hack on the show to lay it all out for us. This guy's sitting there saying shit like cool exotic parties with attractive women who are used as a currency to keep them happy so they can juice the deals. And Slow Joe's sitting there squinting his eyes while nodding his oversized shiny head. Could this seriously get any worse? The guy who built an empire off the back of being this free-thinking spirit who is beholden to nobody is now clearly afraid to ask any questions that could implicate his billionaire buddies. Just take a look at how he decides to wrap up the episode with Greg Fitzsimmons as soon as Jamie pulls up an article about Peter Thiel's Palantir.
Palantir app ICE uses to find neighborhoods to raid. Yeah, so it is Palantir at least for that.
Yeah, the article he had, it was blocked by a paywall. I was trying to get around.
Nuts.
Joe
All right,
Rogan
Gregory.
experience can't afford to pay for. Is this it? We're wrapping it up?
Let's wrap this bitch up.
No.
It's 4 o'clock.
Can I name some dates?
Fuck yeah.
If it was just a one-off, then I wouldn't have noticed. But after that episode with Theo Von, where Rogan was gaslighting Theo and trying to convince him that he was overthinking things, while Theo was clearly having an existential crisis and clearly calling out for help, all of this is suspicious. Whenever someone brings up Palantir or Peter Thiel, Joe will quickly change the subject or move things along. It's now clearer than ever whose side he's on. And that extends to the Epstein files. If you thought the mental gymnastics in that previous clip was bad, wait until you see these clowns trying to convince themselves that trafficking is just part of doing business as long as it's not kids.
That's a very specific illicit desire to want underage people.
Well,
how do you even find out that someone's into that?
Well, I don't think that the majority or anything close to it of the women were, barely legal, so to speak. But and I know that there were cases of underage, but I think
most of it was just
most
girls.
of it was just very, very young, but not not like
20-year-old
not like
girls,
13
18-year-old
type,
girls.
type thing. Many of the clients are like, in countries that don't necessarily have the same norms about that that we do. You can very easily see someone getting involved in that just because girls juice deals. I do think that girls juice deals, and the fact that he had the coolest parties on a private island with the hottest girls is
also
something
brought
that
in
makes
a lot of intellectuals, stimulating conversations, scientists, all these very interesting people. So that was part of the thing, right?
Try hosting a cool party as a guy with a bad ratio, so to speak.
Sausage party.
With a sausage party, you become an important person to know in the network because basically every male has a desire for attractive women, not saying underage, obviously, but that is like a universal biological desire for men to want to be around attractive women.
And what did they do for gay guys?
I have no idea.
Again, the whole point is he's throwing these very attractive, cool parties to get all these people together.
But that's what juices deals.
Right.
I swear, if this guy says girls juice deals one more time, I'm gonna throw up. It's like he was given a list of approved words to repeat on this episode. And the thing is, I cut this down into shorter clips for you guys. In the full episode, he rambles on and on for ages about these cool parties and using the hottest girls as a currency. While I was sitting here editing this video, I stopped and thought to myself, what is he trying to achieve by saying all of this shit? Like, it's such a weird hill to die on. Imagine hosting cool parties with no chicks. Bro, we're talking about a trafficking ring involving children. They're not cool parties, they're fucking crime scenes. Trying to normalize this whole thing is such a wild thing to do. And you can tell by how awkwardly he's sitting there spewing out all this bullshit that he doesn't even believe it himself. He looks super nervous and anxious as he recites these talking points. Bro looks like he's being held hostage. It became so obvious the more he went on that he clearly had an agenda. Listen to him explain how it had nothing to do with blackmail, and it was just a way for Epstein to help powerful men get deals done that people had previously turned down.
Jeffrey Epstein asked them to do it. And Jeffrey Epstein, for the past 3 years of their lives has been the best weekend they've ever had, has made them feel alive again in their, mid-50s or 60s. I'm afraid that if I say no to Jeffrey Epstein on this deal, I'm not going to get an invite to the next party. I'm not going to be able to get laid again with a girl that women I find attractive or that, yada, yada. And Epstein hooks those up. It's because it's juiced by the girls, the parties, the lifestyle that Epstein allows you to have access to.
But in the public eye, the narrative is underage girls. And this is the thing that makes it so disgusting. When people talk about it, everyone says kids on the island. This is the big conspiracy about it. And this is the reason why people are so outraged about it. My
concern with the runaway train on that, it's a massive manhunt for something that it may be true. To me, it's a needle in the haystack. It might be true. Good luck looking for it. When I think about it logically, with the role that Epstein played between BCCI, Iran-Contra, Latin American politics, African politics, Asian politics, major world foundations, it would seem ludicrous to me that Epstein doesn't mean it's impossible. But logistically, if Epstein ever directly threatened someone proactively and really, really do someone in like that, and word gets around that happens, everything he built goes, the whole Rolodex finds out. And then even if that rumor existed, people aren't going to want to go to the parties because now that's not like an unfettered good time. That is like, oh, he did this to this guy I know.
Calling it a needle in a haystack tells you everything you need to know about this guy. It's just a bunch of dudes having a good time with young, underage people of age who are barely legal women, just having a good time and helping to juice deals and keep them happy at some cool exotic party. You know, just a bunch of old dudes blowing off some steam. And if there were some kids there, oh well, good luck proving it. It's a needle in a haystack, right? I mean, it's not like we have millions of pages of evidence that proves exactly that.
My thing about all this is like, oh wait, this dude was good at helping you cheat on your taxes, whatever. He had something about that. Second of all, he probably went, oh wait, nerds want to get laid and they cheat on their wives, no matter how rich and powerful they are. Here's a plane and a island.
Yeah,
so
but what about all the young
overall,
kids?
it sounds like he was he was a pimp to nerds.
What about the young kid though?
He had a penchant for like 14, 15,
And
16
so did some other
girls.
very famous.
Well, there's a lot of
politicians.
emails. Like, there's
We
emails
don't
saying
know yet,
really
right?
enjoyed that the 9-year-old, was it 9-year-old
Nice.
Brazilian?
Nice.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's
Wait,
and
what?
massages on kids and shit.
Wait,
Yeah.
where'd that
They
come
said
in?
really enjoyed the young one
Who
today.
said that?
Yeah.
There's
It's all in the files.
some 9-year-olds in there.
Yeah,
too.
there's even younger.
Who moved to US? Hold on.
I'll go to chat after this.
Hey, she was 14, guys. Can you get the right?
Oh no, this is just
No,
one
that's
example.
dude.
this
There's
is just one.
so many.
Yeah.
Brian
And
goes,
I
dude,
mean-
come on, she was 14.
To-
What
to-
is your take today? What the is going on? Woody Allen, and now you defend Epstein?
Woody Allen's a very different story. Woody Allen's
Well,
totally different.
it's weird. You're dating your stepdaughter.
It's still legal.
Let's just pause for a minute and appreciate exactly what's going on here in the latest episode of The Fighter and the Kid. We've got Brian Callen, a 60-year-old washed-up comedian with allegations leveled against him by multiple women going back over 20 years, sitting on a podcast that nobody watches, identifying with Epstein and his buddies. So this is Brian's hot take on the Epstein situation that he has everyone calling him out on. Yeah, maybe there were some kids involved. That sucks, but for the most part, it sounded like just a bunch of middle-aged rich guys hanging out with kids. Hang on, what? This is one of those times where someone's literally telling you who they are, and all you've got to do is believe them. Since when were 16 and 17-year-old girls not classified as kids? Brian's like, yeah, but this kind of stuff has always been going on, so what's the big deal?
One time I get it. One time they'd probably get me.
But when you go back,
When you're when like Bill Gates and Bill Clinton, when you're there 20 times, like but
here, hey,
buddy.
hey,
Dude,
can I give you
buddy.
can I give you a just?
there's a hefty amount of people who are trying to hang out with them. Post.
Yeah, my question is back then, is it possible they didn't know that he had been?
That's what Elon Musk is trying to say.
Yeah.
What else would they say?
But what would you say?
we're just-
fucking knew. Whoop, you got me.
But my
I don't think any
problem
of
with this
them-
whole argument is you're talking about some of the most powerful, smart people in the world. You think they're that naive? They all go to this island, just nobody knew.
Oh, I think
just
that- I think
everyone's
none
like,
of them-
"What's this?"
Oh, I think none of them would be dumb enough to be with a.
Dude, you know what happened
So
at
watch
the-
this. If you're Bill Gates, the highest profile person, Bill Clinton,
He was with.
and you know that a guy who did time as a has a party, would you go anywhere near that motherfucker?
I think Bill Clinton would.
That guy would.
Talking about the guy gets
Rip-
sucked in the
Andrew.
Oval Office. You think the guy has morals? You think that
I don't
guy's
think
looking
I
into
don't
it?
think he has morals. I'm saying.
I don't think he
I'm
gives
saying
a
from
flying.
purely
And there's no social media.
From a
Dude,
purely
you know now
self-preservation
from-
He would
point of
go?
view.
All right, I'm going to let Brian Callen, Joe Rogan, and Mike Benz in on a little secret. It's not that they didn't know about what was going on at the island and at Palm Beach and in New York. It's not that they didn't know. It's because they knew what was going on. That's why they kept on going back for more. I can't believe these guys are sitting there and acting all confused as to why all these elites would want to hang out with Jeffrey Epstein after he got busted back in 2008 and was registered as an offender. That is precisely why they hung out with him. They liked it and they wanted more, so they kept going back. It wasn't about cool, exotic parties with the hottest women. It was about Epstein enabling them to do all the dirty shit they were too afraid to organize for themselves. But Brian really takes it to a whole new level here. See, Rogan is clearly compromised and running D for his buddies. He's the #1 podcast in the world. He's got a massive reach and influence. He's got to make sure he doesn't ask too many of the right questions to embarrass them. Brian Callen doesn't have any of those problems. He's just a creepy dumbass who has strong opinions about things he knows almost nothing about. Seriously, listen to how uninformed he is about the whole situation after ranting for an hour about it like he's some sort of expert.
This is my problem with all this shit. Like, this is my problem with everything. There's a 3 million page dump. I don't know what the was some crazy person saying something.
It's meant to be that way. It's meant to be that way.
I mean,
just throwing shit.
I don't know where to look.
Yeah, so this is what they want. So it's like these smoke screens, right? They want all this.
That's how I
feel.
feel.
Then the public goes, I don't know what the fuck.
I've asked so many people.
And Trump goes, right?
Yeah.
I told you there's nothing there. Like,
where do we start?
Well, Kash Patel with his bug eyes lying under oath saying that there's nothing in there about underage kids is crazy.
I don't know what's up with that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
but I think all of it's to cause confusion. So then eventually the public goes, all right. There's some people that this is their jam. They will go through it.
CoffeeZilla's been doing.
It'll come out months later, but they will go through it.
What's like the top.
He's good. We need to get him on. I want to hear his take on this. What's he saying about it?
Well, he had a whole 20-minute long video about all the actual things that are verified. He's great at independent journalism.
He's really good.
CoffeeZilla lives really close to us.
Does he?
Want to hit him up?
On,
San Antonio's close.
Yeah. Let's get him on.
That guy knows his shit.
Yeah. I want to hear what he has to say about this.
And my dad, watching Fox News all day, hears nothing about this shit.
He just goes YouTube, though. That's how he makes a living.
Yeah.
He has like 20 million views on this.
That pause right there is poetic. 2 days ago, CoffeeZilla posted a 37-minute video detailing some of the worst allegations from the files, which now has 4.5 million views. 5 days ago, he had a 16-minute video that has over 6 million views. And Brian Callen sitting there saying, I'd love to hear what he thinks about all of this. We should get him on the show. Why in the fuck would CoffeeZilla go on The Fighter and the Kid, a show that gets 30 to 40,000 views, to go over the same things he just explained in his own videos that have over 10 million views? That is peak delusion right there, and it tells you everything you need to know about how much effort Brian Callen puts into his hot takes. Meanwhile, Brendan Schaub and that other guy, whoever he is, are sitting there trying to explain to Callen that he can just go over and watch CoffeeZilla's videos on YouTube. This is what really frustrates me about this. Guys like Rogan and Callen do zero research and jump on their podcast to offer their views on a situation they know almost nothing about. And Rogan could have easily gotten CoffeeZilla on JRE this week to go through all the details, but instead we get Mike Benz telling us he hasn't seen any evidence that there were children involved. These guys are openly defending the worst kind of people. They're making it out as if they've got it all figured out, and anyone who's asking questions is being unreasonable and overly skeptical. You know, borderline conspiracy theory territory. And these guys are supposedly the funniest comedians alive. We've got comedians telling us now that Epstein was really just more of the same. Nothing new here. It doesn't affect you anyway, so just carry on. The moment the conversation gets anywhere near their own social class, the billionaires and elites, suddenly everything turns foggy. And it's all just so casual. Rogan is happy to spend 3 hours passionately dissecting cancel culture or some culture war bullshit, but when it comes to the most documented trafficking scandal in modern history, he simply thinks it's crazy and nuts. This is where it all clicks for me, because once you notice this pattern, you cannot unsee it. Every single time the conversation drifts towards people with real money and real power and real influence, the energy completely dies. Rogan's curiosity disappears. Suddenly it's all, I don't know, man, it's complicated. There's a lot of noise. We don't have all the facts. And then on his next podcast, he'll tell Jamie to pull up a fake video and try to convince all of us that it's real. And if it's not real, you know, it could be real, right? It's almost like they think Epstein is a thought experiment, like he's some sort of metaphor instead of a trafficker. And when Brendan Schaub is offering the most coherent position in the room, something has gone seriously wrong. If Schaub is the smartest guy in the room, then basically that room is empty. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channels here on YouTube, and feel free to check out the link in the description to my Patreon if you want to see my longer form uncensored videos. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.
My wife was a big model, my first wife. She went to New York, I think, when she was 13 because there was so much money to be made. How old were you when you first went to New York?
How old was I when I met you? I was 26 when I met you, so maybe, 24?
Yeah.
Well, that backfired.
24.